Hey, Frog Prince Rana here, and thank you for dropping by. This is not a debunking video, but more pointing out some legality to several individuals on both sides of the debate, both Flat Earth and Globe Earth. Couple of years ago, the rage on the internet was to call anyone a Hitler when their viewpoint did not match up or align with the topic in hand. Let me backtrack a little bit. There is a saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never break me." And I am quite fond of that statement. Regardless how much I want that statement to be correct, I do think it is not completely true. Apart from a novel by my favorite author, the fool dropped his mandolin in his embarrassment. In the guild, said the fool, we learned that words can be more powerful even than magic. Clown, said the duke. Words are just words. Brief syllables. Sticks and stones may break my bones. He paused, savoring the thought. But words can never hurt me. My lord, there are such words that can, said the fool. Liar, usurper, murderer. The duke jogged back and gripped the arms of the throne, wincing. Such words have no truth, said the fool hurriedly. But they can spread like fire underground, breaking out to burn. That pretty much sums up my feeling. Now, calling someone Hitler is bad enough. That basically shows the lack of historical knowledge, empathy, and not understanding the atrocities that occurred during the Dark Ages. So unless someone has been personally responsible for a mass genocide, please stop calling people as such. Now that trend seems to have died down. But don't get your hopes up, as it has been replaced by something much worse, and unfortunately, we see it all around us. Let's see a couple of examples here, shall we?
Hey, Irish Demon. Sorry, folks. This is just a little message for my pedophile buddy, Irish Demon, the fucking pedo, the pathetic pedo that pushes pedo propaganda on people, that pushes mask mandate propaganda delivered from pedophiles on people, because he's such a bitch pedophile that he won't do fuck all about it. If he ever saw me face to face, he'd piss himself, because he's a soft little bitch pedophile.
Before we think it is only flat earthers, it is not. Here is a global channel by a person called Tony Starna and a thumbnail from his recent video. Full disclosure, I did not watch that video and I will not. This kind of shit is not even worth watching. I will just read the description. Hey all, we will look at what this satanic, God-hating, evil scum criminal, heartless and soulless demon, infested, evil, fake YouTuber truthers do when they are threatened. How dare we try to save children from them? That's right, people. Mac and his evil fake truther cult of pedos, pedo-loving, satanic witches and wizards of Flat Earth and Mandela are now very, very scared. An old enemy is rising. Flat Earth Vancouver, BC is coming, and heads will roll. People, as I have mentioned, there are hidden demons and satanists and sold out pawns of Satans everywhere. We need to be awake to them and out them one by one, and never let up till they are gone and out of their misery. Burn in hell, all of them. Then asking for money, followed by, which demon in their cults do I go after first? Bob Noddle, Joshua Swift, Jason Lindgren, Rose 777, Brain Stavely, Karen B, The Truth Seeker 69, etc. Let's talk what we saw at the demonic, satanic, Freemason, godless gathering of pedophiles, child molesters, child porn fans, criminals, Satanists, witches, drug addicts, and the most vile beings in our world, called Flatoberfest 2020, and since then, on YouTube. Being unemployed, yes people, the evil motherfucker I'm fighting have lots of money and power and fighting hard to shut me up. So if you can, only if you can, I would appreciate any and all donations so I can make sure my bills are paid, so I can concentrate every moment and second I have towards bringing them down. Thank you so much. If you would like to support my work, truth, much appreciated. Well, if someone wants to support this crap, feel free. I'm just so sorry to be in the same group as this ass. Between Tony and Daniel, I never thought I would say it, but Daniel is less vile. While writing the script, the first thought that went through my mind was, am I being hypocritical? I do once in a while call people name, so first I had to go through my own lexicon. I don't use the word used for a female dog. Well, one reason being, with my accent, it sounds like I'm talking about the seaside and vice versa. I don't use the words for female genitalia and shudder when someone uses the C word. Once in a blue moon, I may use the short version of the name Richard. Oh, how I feel sorry for all the Richards out there. I do use the word freaking at times as an objective and not as a noun. My go-to mostly are stupid, moron, which both means the same thing, having or showing a great lack of intelligence or common sense. I can imagine using it in anger without any reason, which is wrong. But more often than not, it is warranted and more importantly, can be proven. For example, when flat earthers say things fall because of density, say it with me. Those guys are morons. Why so? Because density is not a force, showing the great lack of intelligence, therefore a moron. Similar statement applies to most of this nonsense flat earthers spew, from composite photo to everything has to be observed to cherry picking one photo showing sun fading out. Oh, the dumbness is mind-boggling. And every single of this occurrence, yes, they are morons. Oh, and I do use a-hole, but only when I'm truly pissed off. Now, that is a North American vulgar slang, which also means a stupid, irritating or contemptible person. I stand correct. But how about those other words? I will start with the easy one, drug addicts. Well, I'm a cannabis user, which is a Class B drug in UK. And so far, not a single video I have done where I was not high. Being high is a normal state for me. While writing this script, I had several tea and weed breaks. I also understand that caffeine, nicotine, those are also drugs. When I feel happy or sad, dopamine is passing through my body. You may get addicted to painkillers due to health suffering or for mental anguish. At the end, if someone is dependent on a drug that is stopping that person to perform to his or her standard, then those people need help and not ridicule. Next, Satanists and Witches. Well, for us atheists and agnostics, there is no God or Satan. So, at least for me, there is no difference between Satanist and religious person. They are both praying to a make-believe anthropomorphic persona, which cares about what these people do. Light a candle on a church or your home on a drawn pentagram. What is the difference? Same to sacrificing a goat to Lord Satan or to Allah. And witches? Well, there is no such thing in traditional sense of the word. I do mean flying around on broomstick and placing a curse on people or livestock. Nowadays, it is mostly Wicca that we think of when talking about witchcraft, and it is a modern pagan, you guessed it, religion. Well, some would take it as a compliment. Now we're getting to the deep end, criminals. But this is shallow compared to pedophiles, child molesters, and child porn fans. To start with, let's just call them keyboard warriors, hiding behind a screen. Everyone is Heracles. Back to my examples. In Daniel's case, it would be a slander. For Tony Starna, it would be libel. Well, there is a term to refer to both, that is defamation. Defamation is the publication of material that adversely affects a person or a company's reputation. Libel concerns lasting forms of publication, such as print or broadcasting. Slander refers to more transient forms of publication, such as speech. A statement is not defamatory unless its publication has caused or is likely to cause serious harm to the subject of the statement that has been made. There is no single judicial interpretation of what amounts to defamation. However, the test that is often used is whether the statement lowers the claimant in the estimation of society generally or is likely to affect a person adversely in the estimation of reasonable people. What many people fail to realize is they can be liable someone in an email or website. In the UK, defamation is a civil action, and if proven, a judge can award significant damages to the plaintiff. To prove prima facie defamation, a plaintiff must show 4 things. 1. A false statement purporting to be fact. 2. Publication or communication of that statement to a third person. 3. Fault amounting to at least negligence. And 4. Damages or some harm caused to the person or entity who is the subject of the statement. Many countries assume that a speaker who defames others necessarily has a requisite guilty state of mind. To clarify requisite guilty state of mind or mens rea, that refers to criminal intent. The literal translation from Latin is guilty mind. A mens rea refers to the state of mind statutorily required in order to convict a particular defendant of a particular crime. Establishing the mens rea of an offender is usually necessary to prove guilt in a criminal trial. The prosecution typically must prove beyond reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the offense with a culpable state of mind. The mens rea requirement is premised upon the idea that one must possess a guilty state of mind and be aware of his or her misconduct. However, a defendant need not know that their conduct is illegal to be guilty of a crime. Rather, the defendant must be conscious of the facts that make his conduct fit the definition of the offense. If you want to bring a claim against someone for slandering you, it is important that you act very quickly. This is because the time limits are tight and you have only 1 year from the date of the publication of the slanderous statement to start a claim in court. It is very unusual for this time limit to be extended, but it is possible in certain circumstances. It can be difficult to prove that you have been slandered, as the untrue statement about you has not been recorded in a permanent form. It is important to speak to witnesses as quickly as possible and to take statements from them, confirming what has been said about you. Slander law is very specialized, and it is important that you establish with the help of an expert at an early stage whether or not you have a valid claim. Just repeating the last statement, please seek help of an expert. I'm not giving you legal advice, but pointing out that if you're any of the individuals who have been called a P word, that includes Irish demon from my side of the aisle too, Bob Nodell, Karen B., Brian Stavely, Joshua Swift, Arjuan, Alex Stein, Jason Lindgren, Rose 777, The Truth Seeker 69, and the other names that I cannot read from the thumbnail. who belongs to the other side. Now those in the other side of the aisle, yes, I have personally called many of you morons and will continue to do so. But in this instance, I will go to bat for you just as I would for any other individuals. I may not and perhaps will never agree with you on most points and topics, but this is not such an event. I would have to thank GloberMom for getting me the original video by Daniel Pratt before it was taken down either by him or YouTube. If you haven't already, you should check her channel out. Link would be in description. So we do have, well, I have proof of such defamation, and if you want to pursue it legally, I would be more than glad to pass this evidence to you. Take these people down and I will stand up and clap. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you agree with my take, you know what to do. Like, comment and share it around. Maybe even subscribe if you haven't already. Once in a while, when I'm not so angry, I do have some non-angry stuff to talk about. Thank you once again. Wherever you are, have a safe day. Signing off.